Hey everyone, and welcome back. Today we're diving into something I think is really cool. It's all about prompt engineering,
Yeah,
and specifically a technique called the reflection pattern,
that's right.
which is kind of like getting AI to think out loud,
It is.
which is way more useful than it might sound at first.
It really is fascinating. Imagine being able to ask an AI not just for answers, but also like for the reasoning behind those answers.
Yeah.
That's what the reflection pattern allows us to do.
Okay, so for those of us who are maybe like new to this whole prompt engineering thing,
Yeah.
can you break it down a bit? What is
Right.
that?
Absolutely. So think of it this way. When you use AI, like ChatGPT, you're not just like typing in random questions, right? You're crafting. You're crafting very specific instructions to kind of like guide the AI's response. And that's prompt engineering in a nutshell.
Okay.
And the reflection pattern kind of takes it a step further. It's like prompting the AI to explain the why behind the what.
So instead of just getting an answer, I'm
Yeah.
getting to see the AI's thought process.
Yeah, exactly. Let me give you a concrete example. Imagine you're building like a new software application, and you need to choose a framework.
Okay.
You could just ask the AI to like recommend one. But with the reflection pattern, you would also ask it to explain like why it chose that particular framework. Maybe even like provide code examples to illustrate its points.
Wait, hold on. The AI could actually give me code snippets
Yeah.
to show how the framework would work.
Yeah.
That's wild. I'm starting to see how powerful this could be.
It is. And this is just one example. The
Thus,
applications are really quite vast.
my mind is officially blown. But before we get too carried away with like all the different possibilities, let's talk about why this matters in the bigger picture. Like, why is the reflection pattern such a game changer? Why should we care about this?
Yeah, that's a great question. Ultimately, it all comes down to trust and understanding. When we can see the AI's reasoning, we're better equipped to assess the validity of its output.
Okay.
It's like having a window into the AI's decision-making process.
So it's not just about getting like a cool answer. It's about making sure that that answer is like reliable and accurate
Right.
and helps us to avoid potential errors or biases the AI might have.
Exactly. And by understanding the AI's reasoning, we can also uncover any like hidden assumptions that might be making, which can be crucial in certain situations.
That makes so much sense. So it's
Yeah.
like I'm able to double check the AI's work
Yeah.
and make sure that it's aligning with like my own goals and my values.
Precisely. And on a more practical level,
Yeah.
understanding the AI's reasoning just makes its output much more useful. We can learn from its insights, adapt our own thinking, and ultimately make more informed decisions.
This is also fascinating. I'm already starting to think about all the ways that I could use this in my own work. But before we jump into that, maybe you can share some practical tips on how to actually use the reflection pattern effectively.
Absolutely. There are a few key things to keep in mind when crafting these special reflection prompts.
Okay, I'm all ears. Give you the inside scoop.
All right, so first, think strategically about when to use reflection prompts. It might not be necessary for like every single task, right? But it's particularly valuable when the why is just as important as the what. Focus on situations where, understanding the AI's reasoning is truly critical to your decision making.
Got it. So use it when the reasoning really matters, not just for like simple tasks where it's just a quick answer.
Exactly. Another important tip is to tailor the prompt to the specific task at hand. Be clear about what kind of reasoning you're looking for. Do you want the AI to like explain its assumptions or to cite sources or to provide examples? The more specific you are, the more relevant and insightful the AI's explanation will be.
So it's like I'm writing a very detailed instruction manual for the AI and
Right.
telling it exactly what I needed to explain.
Exactly. And finally, make sure the AI's explanation is understandable to the intended audience. Avoid jargon overload.
Keep it simple, keep it clear. I can definitely get on board with that.
Now, if you're ready to take things to the next level, there's another technique that can be combined with the reflection pattern called fact checklists.
Ooh, that sounds intriguing. But I have a feeling we're running out of time for this part of our deep dive.
Yeah, you're right.
All right, everyone, stay tuned for part 2, where we'll dive deeper into some real-world examples and explore this fact checklist technique. You won't want to miss it.
Welcome back to our deep dive into the reflection pattern.
Where we're learning how to make AI explain itself. It's like a student showing their work.
Precisely. And last time, we discussed how this transparency can help us trust AI's outputs spot potential biases, and even learn from its reasoning.
Yeah, exactly. But now I'm really curious to see what this looks like in practice. Can you give us some concrete examples?
Absolutely. Remember that software development example we touched on earlier?
Yeah.
Let's say you're building a website and you need to choose a framework.
Okay, I'm following. So I'm trying to decide between, React, Angular, Vue, all these different options.
Yeah, right. Now imagine you're using an AI like ChatGPT to help you choose. Instead of just asking like, what's a good framework? You'd craft a reflection prompt like this. I need to build a website with features X, Y, and Z. Recommend a framework BUT, also explain why you chose it. Provide specific reasons and address any potential issues I might run into.
Wow, that's so much more specific than just like asking for a recommendation.
Yeah.
It's like I'm giving the AI a mini assignment.
Exactly. And the beauty of it is that the AI can often back up its reasoning with real code snippets, showing you how the framework would be used
Yeah.
in your specific scenario.
Hold on, so I'd actually see code examples
Yeah.
tailored to like my website's features.
Yeah,
That's incredible. It's like getting a personalized coding tutorial alongside the recommendation.
it is. And this approach can be applied to so many different tasks, not just software development. Think about writing an article, for example.
Okay, so let's say I'm using AI to help me write a blog post about, I don't know, the history of coffee.
You could ask the AI to not only write the article, but also to explain why it structured the piece in a certain way, or to provide sources for its claims.
So it's not just about getting the AI to like generate text. It's about understanding the thought process behind that generation.
Exactly.
That's really powerful.
And this leads us to another crucial point, the importance of tailoring your prompts to the specific task.
Right, because a generic prompt probably won't get you those deep insights you're looking for.
Precisely. Let's say you're using AI to analyze a complex data set. Your prompt might focus on asking the AI to explain any statistical assumptions it's making, or how it identifies potential outliers.
Okay, so instead of just getting like a bunch of numbers and charts and graphs,
Yeah.
I'm asking the AI to walk me through its analysis
Mhm.
and point out, any potential red flags along the way.
Exactly. The more specific and targeted your prompt, the more relevant and insightful the AI's explanation will be.
It's like being a detective, guiding the AI to give me the exact clues I need to solve a case.
A great analogy. And it emphasizes another important point, the need for clear communication. We don't want the AI to get lost in a sea of technical jargon.
Right, because what good is an explanation if I can't understand it? It defeats the whole purpose of transparency.
Absolutely. Always keep your audience in mind when crafting your prompts. Make sure the AI's explanation is clear, concise, and avoids any unnecessary technical terms.
It's like saying, hey, AI, explain this to me like I'm a reasonably intelligent person who doesn't have a PhD in your field.
Exactly. The goal is to strike a balance between depth and accessibility.
This is all so fascinating. But I can't help but wonder, are there any common pitfalls that people should avoid when using reflection prompts?
That's a great question. And it's a perfect segue into the next part of our deep dive, where we'll uncover some potential traps and explore how to use reflection prompts effectively.
All right, everyone, stay tuned for part 3, where we'll delve into the do's and don'ts of reflection prompts. You won't want to miss it. We're back for the final part of our deep dive on the reflection pattern.
Where we're learning how to make AI explain itself.
Right. Last time we talked about how specific prompts can really help make the AI reveal its thought process, like, choosing software frameworks and even giving us code examples.
Right. And how important it is to tailor those prompts to the task and make sure that the explanations are clear and jargon-free.
Exactly.
But you also mentioned some potential pitfalls to watch out for when we're using those reflection prompts.
Yeah, what are some of those?
Well, one common mistake is asking for explanations when they're not truly needed.
Okay, so don't overuse it. Like if I'm just asking the AI to translate a simple phrase, I probably don't need a whole lecture on linguistics.
Exactly. You want to use those reflection prompts strategically, focusing on the tasks where understanding the why is really critical to what you're doing.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
I don't want to drown in explanations when a straightforward answer will do.
Right. Another pitfall is assuming that the AI's explanation is always accurate or unbiased.
Right. Just because it sounds really smart doesn't mean it's always right.
Exactly. Remember, AI models are trained on these massive data sets, and those data sets can contain biases or inaccuracies. So you always want to critically evaluate the AI's explanation and consider other perspectives too.
So it's like with any source of information healthy skepticism and double-checking is key.
Absolutely. Don't treat the AI's explanation like it's the gospel truth. Use it as a starting point for further investigation and critical thinking.
It's like having a super smart research assistant. but one who still needs some guidance and fact-checking.
That's a perfect analogy. And speaking of guidance, another pitfall is being too vague with your reflection prompts.
Right, we talked about being specific. But what happens if I'm too general with those prompts?
Well, if your prompt is too open-ended, the AI's explanation might be irrelevant or too high level to be useful. Think back to that software framework example. Instead of just saying, explain your reasoning, be really precise. Say something like, explain why this framework is suitable for a website with features X, Y, and Z, considering factors like scalability and security.
So it's like I'm giving the AI a clear roadmap, instead of just saying, take me somewhere interesting.
Exactly. The more specific those instructions are, the more focused and valuable that AI's explanation will be.
This all makes so much sense. It's like the better your questions are, the better answers you'll get, whether you're talking to a person or an AI.
Precisely. And I think that highlights the really empowering aspect of prompt engineering. You're not just passively receiving information, you're actively shaping the AI's output.
Yeah, I love that. It's like we're moving beyond the idea of AI as this like magic oracle and
Yeah.
towards AI as this like collaborative tool that we can work with.
A tool that we can understand and guide, and ultimately use to augment our own intelligence.
This has been such a cool deep dive. We learned about the power of the reflection pattern, how to craft effective prompts, and even some common pitfalls to avoid.
Yeah, and hopefully this has made you a little bit curious about the potential of AI to not just give us answers, but to explain its reasoning too.
Absolutely. I know you're all eager to learn more, especially about that fact checklist technique we mentioned.
Yeah, a powerful way to combine multiple prompt engineering techniques for even more accurate and reliable AI outputs.
Well, to find out more, you'll have to head over to the blog post. We've linked it in the show notes.
Be sure to check it out.
And as you explore the world of prompt engineering, we'll leave you with this thought. What would you ask AI to explain if you knew it could break down its reasoning step by step?
That's a good question.
Thanks for joining us, everyone. Until next time, keep those minds curious and those prompts sharp.